Just wanted to do a quick video to talk about something I noticed. This neck is for my Great Guitar Build-Off guitar, but it's not explicitly about that. When I go through and buy parts, since I'm very much a beginner in this, I usually buy one guitar's worth of parts at a time. And so I'll make an order to somewhere, order the tuners, nut, fretboard, the whole thing. And as I've been waiting for the lacquer to dry on my build-off guitar, I figured I'd just take a look at the neck, make sure everything is working out well. And so one of the things I want to do is check the level of my truss, or the neck, to see if I need to make a truss rod adjustment. And so as I was going through this, if you've ever tried to do this adjustment on one of your guitars, a lot of times you have to think about what size wrench you actually need. And some of the common sizes are 5/32, 4 millimeters, 3 millimeters, things like that. I guess it depends on if you have an American-made guitar versus a non-American guitar. And so as I went through this, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put my ruler on here, kind of check it and see if I need to make any adjustments to the truss rod. And then I couldn't find the right size wrench. And that's sort of a very common thing where the tools are never where you think they are. But no matter what size hex wrench I tried, it didn't work. And I was starting to get frustrated, and even more so, I was starting to get worried that I was stripping out the truss rod screw. This guitar, I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to sell it, but I definitely at least want to have the option to sell it to someone. And of course, I don't want to strip it before I've even put the guitar together. And so I took a step back, look at the packing receipt that I got, and realized that I had actually bought the incorrect truss rod, or at least the truss rod that I didn't expect to. And what had happened is that I went through and saw the truss rod said a hex nut, and I thought, perfect, I am actually looking for a hex nut. What this actually means is the hex is on the outside, not the inside. And so I was thinking, sure, I'll take a hex wrench, put it in there, it's a nut, it's all fine. So my sort of advice to you is really just pay attention to what you're doing. This is a hex nut, and eventually I realized that I needed a 1/4 inch hex, what are these called? Hex wrenches, to actually turn and adjust the truss rod. The problem with that is I didn't cut my truss rod hole assuming that I needed that. So my truss rod channel goes through, if you can imagine, with an inside diameter wrench. The outside just needs to be large enough so that the nut can spin freely. With the hex on the outside, you actually need enough space around the nut so that I can take this, the extra spacing of this wrench, you need that extra space in there. And so I went through, I ended up solving the problem. I used a really tiny chisel. I actually took a chip out of my nice chisels, and so I'll have to go through and resharpen those. And so I just wanted to give everybody, just this little reminder, just pay attention to what you're doing. It was the right size truss rod in terms of the length, and it works absolutely fine now. But this ended up being a 45-minute detour that I really wasn't expecting. Here I thought I was using the 5/32 inside diameter truss rod, and I didn't. And ended up now having to go through and think about how can I remount this tiny hole here without poking through the back of the neck, without messing anything up, without messing up the finish. And as I mentioned, that wasn't expected, and I wouldn't want to suggest to people that they end up having to try and do that sort of operation, because it is pretty frustrating. So That's my tip for today, is just pay attention to what you're ordering, because once you do the fabrication and you are trying to route out a piece in the middle of the neck, it's not going to go so well. Thanks for watching.